Good morning, everyone.
Yes.
Welcome. My name is Corinne Zupko. For those of you who don't know me, I am a writer, a video blogger. I'm the author of a forthcoming book called From Anxiety to Love, which I'll be sharing a bit about my anxiety experience today because A Course in Miracles has been the one thing that has really undone the anxiety issues that I've had. I'm the co-founder of Miracle Share International, along with Craig and our dear friend Danielle Scruton. Yay. There are cards on your chairs that we put down a little bit. You can read on the back. We have a big virtual conference that we do once a year. We just started some Miracle Share Academy classes. The first one was on parenting, and of course Miracles is a big hit. So please feel free to connect with us. I just wanted to also say how we met and how most of us met, I think, here in terms of the course folks. Facebook, Twitter, social media. When given to the Holy Spirit, look at all the connections that we can make. So please connect with us. If you're not on Facebook, please consider doing so just to connect with other course students. There's lots of really amazing groups that exist. So we are going to each do a little bit of sharing, and we'll open it up to Q&A. Craig and I are very informal and very conversational, so we really encourage your questions, your insights. We're all teachers and learners. So please feel free to throw up a hand at any point in time. And before I begin sharing, I just would love to begin with an opening meditation. There's a quote in the original edition of A Course in Miracles that says, meditation is a collaborative venture with God. I love that. So let's collaborate. Whatever sounds are around us, just letting them be there in our room. And taking a deep breath in and out. And turning our attention within. Connecting with our sense of willingness. We're all here. We have to be willing. So connecting with that sense of willingness, even if it's small. Willingness to see differently. Willingness to let go. And willingness to let be. And offering that tiny bit of willingness to Holy Spirit within. Trusting that the shift will come when we're ready to see it. This holy instant we give to you. Be you in charge, for we would follow you, certain that your direction gives us peace. Trusting that we'll hear what we need to hear at this conference. We'll release what we need to release. And we'll trust that the shift will come when we're ready to receive it. Again, taking a nice mindful breath in and out. With the love in your heart and the light in your mind, coming together to our perception of this time and place. Welcome, everybody. So I'd like to just share a little bit of my story, recognizing that I've largely let it go. The anxiety issues that I've had, I've been very grateful for because they brought me to a lot of peace. They brought me to the course, and they brought me to really coming to know Holy Spirit within. My anxiety issues actually started at the age of probably 1.5 to 2 years old when I was diagnosed with separation anxiety disorder from my mom. And my mom knew that at some point things were probably going to get kind of interesting with me because I was such an anxious child. I'm actually a counselor by training, and I worked in a college counseling center for many years, and we sort of understood that the college years were a time when mental health issues surfaced for a lot of students, and I was no exception. My sophomore year of college, a student who I didn't even know died very suddenly of meningitis. He was at a party one night and dead the next morning. And a question that I had been wrestling with for quite some time came smack in my face again, and that question was, how can a loving God create things that die? How can a loving God create things that die? It does nothing with thinking about God as love and death sat well with me. And so that night I learned about this student's death. I felt a spike of fear. I calmed myself down and went to bed that night at about 3 a.m. I woke up with a punch in the stomach of stress hormones in the midst of my very first panic attack. And miraculously, I remember stumbling down my bunk bed, dragging our phone into our suite's bathroom and calling my mom, who for some reason actually heard the phone ring at 3 a.m. And she instilled hope in me that we would find help for me somehow. And at that point, she had already been studying Course in Miracles for quite some time, and I didn't want to hear it when she tried to talk to me about it. I'd literally do one of these, like, me, I don't want to hear it, don't tell me this stuff, I'm not interested. And at this point, I was in such a place of desperation, I was willing to try anything. So I opened up that book, I read the first few sentences, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, herein lies the peace of God. And my reaction was, huh? But there was something in me that recognized some truth in there. Something in me stirred. And I thought, I need to keep going with this. And the Course has answered every question I've ever had, including how can a loving God create things that die? God didn't create things that can die. So at this point in time, I began really diving into the Course. I've never put the book down since then. And I noticed a lot of peace starting to come back. Eventually the panic attack subsided and went away. But fear is a shapeshifter. Fear is like a leaky pipe. Plug one hole and we spring a leak somewhere else if we're not getting to the core of where the fear is coming from. So I was doing the Course at this point in time, but what was happening was that I was kind of using the Course as a band-aid. So I would feel maybe fear or anxiety or some sort of discomfort. I'd run to the book, I'd find something that made me feel better, I'd read it. I'd say, okay, I feel great now. I'm gonna put the book down and I'm gonna go about my day. And that's pretty much how I did the Course for quite some time, although I did really begin to develop trust in Holy Spirit. I really did talk to Holy Spirit throughout the day. But that's largely, my relationship with the Course was a bit more intellectual. And so like I said, the fear was still there because it was like a leaky pipe. I could not get on a plane. I would love to tell you about my miraculous plane flight out here. With every bump of turbulence, I just felt more love and peace. So shifted, so different. And I could not go near a hospital without feeling like I was going to pass out, getting a shot or injection, no way. And so there was still a lot of things that could send me into a panicky kind of feeling, send me into a lot of fear. Things then, I won't get into the details of the circumstances, but in 2009, I found myself in a position of a lot of stress, and I started having, I went into what I call my adult age anxiety episode. In 2009, it was, from what I can remember of my experience prior in '97 when I was in college, it felt a lot worse. And when I say it's anxiety, I'm not talking about stress. I'm talking about debilitating anxiety, can't get up, can't eat, and it would pretty much last for 2 weeks solid until I started kind of coming out of it again. At this point in time, again, I have about 12 years of working the Course under my belt. So I knew that there was an opportunity here. I knew that there was an opportunity to go deeper. I didn't know how, but I was still talking to Holy Spirit. And what I eventually came to see was that I was now being asked not just to use the Course to feel better and keep having like a peaceful life. I was being asked to now study the Course, to practice the principles, to undo fear, to undo this dream of suffering. And so instead of running away from the anxiety, I started facing it and looking at it with Holy Spirit. It was like grabbing that bull by the horns and saying, all right, I'm looking at you, but I'm not looking at this alone. I'm looking at this with Holy Spirit. That's the key, because looking at it alone is only going to bring up more fear. So that has very much made a huge, huge shift and a much more deepening of experience for me with the course in learning how to really undo anxiety, how to undo fear. And so what I just want to share with you are 4 different ideas from the Course in Miracles that have been extremely helpful for me in my post-adult episode of anxiety. And that first idea is the Course's teaching on cause and effect. I have a quote I want to share with you, and I'm just going to read that now. It says that effect and cause are first split off and then reversed. So that effect becomes a cause, the cause effect. This is the separation's final step with which salvation, which proceeds to go the other way, begins. Rather than try to explain that, I'm just going to share a story. A story that happened only 2 weeks ago about where I woke up on the proverbial wrong side of the bed. I woke up pretty cranky, already having chosen for ego. So there were stressors, things happening in my external world that I looked at, judged as real, and bought into the picture. And so I woke up this morning pretty cranky, and things started happening to justify my choice. Things started happening to justify that I'd already chosen for ego. So I'm in a rush to get out the door. I was scheduled to teach a meditation class, which is kind of ironic, at the college where I teach. And we were getting some work done in our attic, and at about 9 a.m., I think, the contractor knocks on our door unannounced, wanting to get into the attic. And I was like, what? I was flustered. So there now I can say, he's causing me more stress, right? So that's the opportunity there for ego to see that as causing me to feel a certain way. That was number 1, which caused me to feel a little more flustered. I hop in the car, and about half an hour into my drive, my car starts making a really funky noise that I wasn't happy about. So there, it's causing me to feel more stress. Nature calls, I really have to go to the bathroom. And I realized I forget my keys, my work keys. I left them in my coat pocket that I wore the night before. So I had no keys to open up the spiritual center, no keys to get into my office afterwards. And it was like one thing after another. But I remembered the Course's teaching on cause and effect. I said, wait a second, ego, we're not doing this again. This has to somehow be coming from my mind. All these things that are happening are coming from me. I don't know how, I don't have to intellectually understand that. But I'm going to take extreme responsibility here and just play with this idea that these things are coming from my own mind. And I look at this with you, Holy Spirit. I give this to you. So guess what started happening? This all was one morning, by the way. This all was happening in one morning. So next, witnesses start showing up for my choice for Holy Spirit instead. I pull into campus, and in front of the Spiritual Center are 3 faculty spaces that are always filled. I pull right into a space. There was a space open for me. So I can dash into the Spiritual Center and use the bathroom. The main hall in the Spiritual Center was unlocked. I didn't need my key. It's never unlocked. I have to unlock it every single week. So there, I saw that as another witness for my choice for Holy Spirit. And things like that just kept happening. Maybe those things would have happened anyway, but here I was now able to see it and appreciate it as feeling taken care of by the Spirit. So that's an example of the Course's teaching on cause and effect, doing the same thing with anxiety, saying this has to be, nothing outside of me is causing me to feel this way. This has to be coming from me. I'm willing to look at this with you, Holy Spirit. So that's the first point that I want to emphasize. That reminds me, too, of a quote from the Course that says, the miracle does not awaken you, it merely shows you who the dreamer is. So that example was beautiful for me to see that this is showing me that I'm the dreamer of this dream. The next point that I want to highlight is about letting Holy Spirit do its job. With our theme, change the mind, change the world, I like thinking about this as allowing my mind to be changed, because my choice is for Holy Spirit, but then Holy Spirit does the rest. I actually don't know how to forgive. I don't know how to choose love, but Holy Spirit knows how to do these things, and that's my task, is to choose the Holy Spirit and allow Holy Spirit to make these choices for me. There are little pieces that say that, all throughout A Course in Miracles, that I ignored for years, because I wanted to choose for love. I wanted to be the one to forgive. But we're asked to do so little, and the Course says that the ego finds that insulting. So, another example of this is that I went for a walk. I have a 5-mile nature walk near my house that goes around a body of water. And this is a few years back. I remember going on this walk and deciding, I'm going to choose love. I'm going to bless everybody that walks past me. I was freaking exhausted by the end of that 5 miles. It was so tiring. And I remember it was a month or 2 after that, I had that willingness to see the Christ in everyone, but I was going to let Holy Spirit do it this time. So when I went on that walk, every face that passed me, I just felt this energetic, this love in my heart. It was energizing, not depleting whatsoever. So there's the subtle difference about letting Spirit do this work through us versus it being our decision, to do this for ourselves. And I really want to emphasize too that Holy Spirit, in the Earth text, it says the Holy Spirit is nothing more than your own right mind. So Holy Spirit is part of you. It is part of the mind, your own mind, that remembers truth. That's key to remember, is that it's nothing separate from you. The next point that I want to highlight is about being radically, radically honest and withholding nothing. You can probably already get that sense because I've talked about just being willing to look at everything with Holy Spirit. One of my practices is really to make my laundry list of my desires, my attachments, the outcomes I want to see, and I'll go down that list and look at each one of those things with Holy Spirit and say, here you go, here you go. And when I notice the resistance come up to not wanting to give it over, okay, now I'm willing to look at my resistance. So I'm not giving the ego any place to hide. I'm willing to look at even the places of resistance within me with Holy Spirit to bring those to the light as well. So radical honesty. And then the next point, the final point that I just want to emphasize that's been really helpful for me is being so kind to yourself, so kind to myself by allowing myself to be where I am at. That means when I have thoughts that I should be further along in the course, I should be getting this by now, I should be whatever, pausing and saying, wait a second, I'm going to let myself be where I'm at and it's okay. There was a person in my life years back that I was really struggling with my relationship with them. I had a lot of resentment and a lot of anger, but I didn't want to tell them about it. I didn't want to confront them. I just wanted to give it to the Holy Spirit and get rid of it, pretty much, is what I wanted to have happen. And as much as I tried giving it over, it persisted. It was still there until I realized that, you know what, I really think I need to just talk to this person. I think I really need to just express myself, allow myself to be where I'm at, and not feel guilty about potentially going into conflict, because I want to be that happy learner. A happy learner does not feel guilty about learning. So being where you're at, allowing yourself to be where you're at is so key. I used to tearfully wail to my mom and stepdad, who are both students and teachers of the course. They've been enormous lights in my life. I used to say to them, in the midst of anxiety, I'm failing A Course in Miracles! And my stepdad would say, Corinne, you're not failing A Course in Miracles, you're doing A Course in Miracles. So please remember that it's so important for us to allow ourselves to be exactly where we are, recognizing that if we see somebody else who seems to be having gains or advances, they're doing this work for you. We're doing this work for them. We're doing this for each other because there's one mind. There's only one of us out there. With that, I'm going to hand the mic over to Craig.